So then what led to is Vices that really blew up, right?
So COVID happened. I was like 6 months sober or something.
In New York or here?
Here. No, I moved to LA right before.
Okay.
Went to go stay with my parents because, it was the 2-week mandate.
Yeah.
Stay there for 6 months. And then like I was so bored at my parents' house and also just being around my parents as a 24-year-old, I felt like I was regressing to my teenage like ways. So I would just make TikToks all day, every day, whatever.
Just to stay sane and sober.
Some really dumb stuff too. Like I dressed up as every horoscope sign one day. Don't know why. But then I, when I got like right before Vices came out, which Vices I almost didn't want to put out because the lyrics were so specific of like, if it's not drugs, it's drinks. If it's not drinks, it's things. I don't know. I just felt like I was like, this is just very personal to me. And I wrote it about how when I stopped drinking, I got addicted to other things.
Like?
A phone game.
Uh-huh.
But we don't talk about that. That's embarrassing.
Okay.
But Vices, I'm replacing Vices with Vices.
But nothing detrimental, right?
No, to my time, wasting my time. Yeah. But I celebrated my 1 year sober with a little cupcake and a candle. My mom's filming it. And I was like, this is so like depressing because I had big dreams of like my 1 year sober. I'm going to do this whole like thing. And I'm just at home. And then I got the mixes for my album. And that's when I filmed myself like reacting to like hearing them. And I was like crying, posted that, bam, overnight. I got like 100,000 followers and boom, boom, boom. And I was with a company, distributing through a company called AWOL at the time. I felt very in the lurch by them, where they were always like, we're going to help support you later, later for the next song. And that song started doing really big numbers online where it's like, you get the comments of like, put this out now or else we'll forget about it. And I was like...
Where specifically are you seeing this? On TikTok?
TikTok.
Yeah.
And everyone was at home at that point.
And when it's blowing up on TikTok, are you seeing it blow up on Spotify? And was it...
Well, it wasn't out yet.
It wasn't out yet.
And so they were telling me, wait for a month, build up hype, and then put it out a month later. And I said, look, I might be wrong about this, but I want to put it up this week. And like, because I was seeing those comments and I'd never had that much attention on me.
Was it one TikTok or did you do multiple?
It was one, but I the one that did a lot is, that one TikTok contributed to hundreds of thousands of follows. But then I was still following up with like updates on the song and I don't even want to look back at those videos. They're probably so embarrassing. But
they are now. Trust me on this. They are now, and in about 15 years, you'll love to look at them and show them to people. I'm doing the same thing with like old pictures of my mullet, which used to just mortify me.
Bring it back.
I could, but the true definition of a gentleman is a guy who could grow a mullet but chooses not to.
I love a mullet.
But my point is, it'll come back around where now I bring attention to those horrible old videos and the way I looked because it's hilarious.
Yeah. Well...
But you're in that place that I was in for 12 years where I was like, and if you would even mention a mullet or the drum sound on my first album, whatever, I'd get really sort of defensive and uncomfortable. Now I embrace that shit.
TikTok is hard because you post so many, like hundreds and hundreds of videos.
You especially, you are so prolific.
Not anymore, but at that time, and I just told them, I was like, let's put it out by the end of the week. Bam, like first day, it gets 500,000 plays. And so I was right that like I should have done that. And then I really started to trust myself more of like, I'm glad I didn't listen to them. And then it was like this bidding war with all these major labels wanting to sign me. But I had been now like 6-7 years independent in the game where I was a little bit bitter about it because I was like I got those emails when I first started and now it's like I was just so afraid of what all my friends have been through or what I've heard of like you sign to a major label, you don't do it well enough and you get dropped. And, you know, the president of Republic calling me and being like, yeah, we'd like to sign you by the end of the week. Yep. Okay, well, like, now, make the decision now. And I was just like, didn't have...
Whose last name is Lipman, maybe?
I didn't even have a manager, you know, like, or like lawyer or anything. And so, but I had already written the song Forever 15, which was about my suicide attempt. And I wanted to release it on the 10-year anniversary of that, which was like in 5 months or something from when this was happening. And all of these major labels were like, yeah, that would be a bit soon for us. So like maybe like you could push it back. And to me, it was just a sign like first of all, marketing wise, the 10-year anniversary makes sense.
Yeah.
But also like if you're already telling me the timeline doesn't work, I was just like, I don't want to do this. So I stayed independent. And then
can we talk about the fact that that was pretty, I mean, that couldn't have been as
Very bold.
easy. Yeah, very bold, but I'm going to guess it wasn't as easy emotionally as it sounds like it was.
It was scary, yeah.
You had to have had that thought of like, what if this is the thing I'm supposed to do and I'm fucking it up? What if this is my one shot that I...
Yeah. Well, all these major labels were signing these other TikTok mutual friends I had, and I would see they put out that one big song of theirs, and then they were radio silent.
Yeah.
And so I was afraid because I'm very like put a lot out. And so I was like, I'm going to put as much energy into being an independent artist as I can. And I made my goal to chart #1 on the pop iTunes chart. So I was very deliberate of like, okay, I'm going to release the album on a Thursday instead of a Friday. So then tell all the fans like, blah, blah, buy it.
And at this point, what number followers are you looking at this point?
On TikTok, I had probably like 200,000 or 300,000, and I don't know what my Instagram was, but
did you have so you had the numbers to pull that off, right?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people are all at home too, and
right.
I was even selling T-shirts that I was bleaching in my backyard, and I sold like 3,000 that me, my mom, and dad were like bleaching them and just like crazy. It's like very bored, and like we made that album chart #1 on the pop iTunes chart for a day, and then Mariah Carey's anniversary.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
#1's #1.
Yeah, and so I got the little screenshot, and then like I started doing more like rock leaning covers. I did a Bring Me the Horizon remix, and then I had another round of labels coming to talk to me, but it was all rock labels.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, but I'm not even that rock. Like I'm always like pop, but you know, I'm tattoos, and I don't even know what lane I fit in. I just always say like dark pop.
Yeah.
You know, because they're smaller labels and there's not as much pressure to like have a radio hit. It was way more like easy to consider. But I was so scared again to like have like being independent for so long, have someone tell me you can't put this out or shelve me or whatever. The label I went with, which, you know, I am into moths, you know, Mothica. And I don't want to say this is the reason, but, you know, the owner of the label was like, my mom raises moths. Do you want some Luna moth caterpillars?
Okay. So you had to be like, okay, that's just too random.
Yes.
I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I heard a sentence like that, I would now have a nickel.